All right. How's it going, everybody? Can you guys hear me? Looks like it's going slowly. Just getting situated here. Can you say hello if you can hear me? All right. Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome back. Week number 2 on this model. It's kind of echoey in here. Let me adjust my microphone a little bit. I've put my Cintiq up a little higher so I'm not reaching so far. All right. So offline, I've done just a few little adjustments to our base model here, and as you can see, I have added the neck tendon muscle things that we were talking about last week. I think it's kind of silly that I don't the mastoids. Yeah. So, and I've also I've adjusted the hands. Let's zoom in on these hands. And I've thickened the fingers and positioned that thumb a little better. And I've also lengthened the legs out a bit. And I've put a kind of a peak going down the shin to represent that shin bone a little bit. And I have the wire turned off on the wireframe. And how you do that is just over here on the wireframe. You can just turn that on and off, or you can also turn the fill, so the color of the poly groups on and off. That's all that is. And then I've Z-remeshed it one more time, so it's a little more dense. I think I Z-remeshed it at about 20. Hey, how's it going? Is that Kyle, or who is it tonight? All right, I'm trying to... Hey, what's up, Jace? Woohoo! Jace is in the house. All right, I'm going to slide this over so I can see it better. So I don't have to crane my head so much for... Hey, Eddie, how's it going? Eddie, I think this is the stream you wanted to watch because I'll be cleaning her up tonight a little bit. So I'm kind of worried about it because I'm going to be using... Dynamesh Master, and Dynamesh Master takes all of my CPU, so hopefully it won't interrupt the stream. It might. When I was messing around with my bear, it interrupted the stream, so hopefully it's not going to do that. But okay, so here's the model. Let's see if I did anything else. I don't think so. Oh, I adjusted the neck a little bit right here. And then I adjusted the jawline a little bit. I'm going to be going into that a lot, but I wanted to move it around just a bit. And I shrunk her waist down to match the concept a little more. And, oh, hey, Kyle. How's it going? I think, Kyle, I think we got confused a little bit. I was going to start an hour earlier. I think our 1 hour difference in communication is a little off, so we'll have to straighten that out. Because I'm trying to go earlier so a lot of people can watch this. But yeah, interested in the building of the gear. Yeah, Jace, I'm going to get into that hopefully soon. I'm going to Dynamesh her together, minus the eyes. I want to leave the eyes alone, and then I'll start smoothing her out and getting rid of all these seams that the primitives create. So I will be doing that shortly. So let's get to it. So I have my Z plugin menu parked over here. And how you park a menu is essentially you just grab this circle and so for Z plugin, I just grab the circle and then just park it wherever you want. You can put it, so there's a shelf over here and that's where the tools are, and there's a shelf down here. I don't have anything in that one, but I use a lot of plugins, so I like to park them over here. And I have a plugin that I'm gonna pimp for Joseph Drust, and I can't remember, maybe Kyle remembers the name of the other guy who helped Joseph write this plugin. It's called Dynamesh Master, and it should ship with Pixelogic, with ZBrush. It should ship with ZBrush, Kyle. tell those guys, because it's amazing. It is absolutely fantastic, and I'm going to show you why. So, if you've ever used Dynamesh before, it's kind of difficult because you have to guess. So there's this resolution right here. And when you hit Dynamesh, you kind of have to guess what your density is going to be. So you have to do it a couple times, right? Well, with Dynamesh Master, and you can just look up Dynamesh Master on ZBrush Central. It'll pop right up, and that's where you can get it from. It's right on ZBrush. There you go, Kyle. Thank you, Kyle. Yep, that's the one, Dynamesh Master. So, and what it does is the resolution, it's really hard to explain because of how it works. Dynamesh's resolution is based on the scene size, the scene size inside of ZBrush. So this resolution number is kind of arbitrary because it's based on the scene size, which is really hard to predict. Well, the reason Joseph and the other guy, who's the other guy, Kyle? You can see it on that. I don't want to browse right now, or else I'd look it up. But anyway, but I don't want to discredit the guy because it's awesome. So anyway, how this works is you can see this polygon count, and it's set to 1.5, and that is in millions. So when you hit this Dynamesh over here, instead of the Dynamesh over here, it's going to Dynamesh your model really close. Oh, thank you, Nick Miller. Okay. It's going to Dynamesh really close, if not exactly, on 1.5 million polys, okay? And another thing that's nice about it is it doesn't leave Dynamesh turned on. And you'll see in my custom user interface right here, I have this Dynamesh button, and I don't use this button. It's just for informational purposes only. I have it there so I know if Dynamesh is turned on or not, because sometimes you'll because all it takes to re-Dynamesh is just holding down Control and dragging anywhere on the background, and it will just automatically re-Dynamesh. And sometimes you accidentally re-Dynamesh and you're like, oh crap, how far back did I do that, right? Well, it's really cool that this Dynamesh stays off. It will only re-Dynamesh if you hit it. So there's no like human error when you're Dynameshing. You just hit it. So hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the chat. Okay, so I'm gonna Dynamesh her right now. I'm ready to go, and like I said, her eyes are on a different subtool. So I have 3 subtools. I have my ruler, and I have my eyes, and I have my body. Okay, so and this ruler is going to be available on my website really soon. As soon as I can get it worked out. I'm having some issues pointing it to my new stuff. Anyway, shortly, hopefully tomorrow or the next day. So I'm working that out. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to hit Dynamesh. Now I'm warning you, this takes a lot of CPU space. If the stream pauses, just hang on tight. I'll be right back. Sometimes it just freezes and loads, but it's not me. It's the stream and it's the CPU. So I'm not going anywhere. But it might pause. So here we go. Okay, well, so it gave me a warning. This is a dynamic subdivision. It's active. So yes, I need to apply that really quick. So under dynamic, hit apply. There we go. Okay, here we go. And it's thinking, is it still working? Did it work? Yes. Hey, it worked. Okay. So it kept all the poly groups, you can see. But if I zoom in really close, oh, there goes my fans. Okay, I better turn off wireframe, but I'll zoom in really close and turn it back on. Okay, now you can see that it's been dynameshed. So it looks the same from far away, but it's been dynameshed, okay? So I want to make sure this is, the symmetry is turned on. And I'm going to hide this concept art for a minute while I do this. And I have Smooth Stronger down on my user interface here. And so I want to make sure that's turned on, and I make sure the intensity is really high, so 100. And Smooth Stronger, where you can find that is if you hit comma and you go to brush and you go to your smooth brushes, there's Smooth Stronger right there. And you can drag that down. Well, you have to be in your brush menu, but you can drag that down to your user interface. You have that right now. It ships with ZBrush. So it's just a more powerful version of Smooth. And sometimes you need it when you're smoothing out Dynamesh. So you can see how quick. See that? It's super fast. And then it might be a little too fast, so I'm going to turn it down a little bit. So there's some of these seams that I want to kind of keep in here, and then some that I don't. So I just smooth those right out. But you can see that most of the work that I spent in putting this together in primitives, you can see how it's now paying off. So instead of, working that in by hand and doing the clay buildup brush and then smoothing it back down, this is a big part of how you keep things smooth. And you'll notice there's some little holes right here. And that's not a problem. What we'll do to fix those is we can just inflate and polish that area right there and then just re-dynamesh and they'll go away pretty quick. But I don't want to smooth that area too much because I want to keep this stuff. That's the best answer, Kyle. Best answer. Keyshot is amazing, by the way. I've been using it for the last week and a half. Man. If you've ever used other renderers like Mental Ray and V-Ray and all those, Keyshot's a dream. My hand's looking kind of Gumby. We'll come back and fix that because we're gonna square it off later. So with these feet in the bottom, the lower leg, I'm just, like I said before, I'm just making this as kind of a, have you ever seen shoemakers and they have that insert that they use to build the shoe on top of? That's kind of what I treat this as, is kind of a blank that I want to build the boot around. So it's not this nice anatomical foot, it's more like a blank. You guys hear me okay? Am I talking to myself? I never know. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Okay. Now, at this point, I like to switch. Awesome. Yay. I got this crazy mic for Christmas last year. Here, I'll show you guys. You see it? It's like this insanely, anyway, it's my favorite. It's awesome. Okay. So what I like to do now is I like to switch to it's a material called ZBrush clay, ZBrush modeling clay. And you can just search for that on Google and find it pretty easily. I don't know if he's got it on ZBrush Central or not. From Cairo. Wow. 5:16 in the morning. Thank you very much for stopping by. That's some dedication right there. Wow. So what this ZBrush material does is it shows you the surface of everything much better. You can see the problems or how smooth it is or not. All right. Well, I'm glad you could make it. Okay, let's smooth in this face. A little too quick on the smooth. Okay. Oh yeah, I've done a couple feet with toes, some bare feet before. It's a challenge because it's like doing the hand, and the hand is a challenge in itself. Okay, I'm gonna try dynameshing again. Once again, I hope it doesn't pause the stream. We'll see if it does or not. If you notice it popped, that's because Dynamesh Master will scale the model to whatever size it needs to be. It could be big or it could be small. Re-dynameshes it and then rescales it back to the size that it needs to be. Okay, it looks like we're good. And then sometimes it'll start to close the holes underneath the armpit here because we're in a neutral A pose instead of a T pose. And so what we can do now is come in with this pinch brush and just kind of start to pinch that back into shape. Let's smooth out those holes. There we go. So I also have this detailer brush on here. And the difference between the detailer brush and the pinch brush is the detail brush is kind of like a Damien standard brush, and it will offset the geometry, and the pinch brush is actually pulling it together. So I'll show you really quick. So this is the detail brush, and it's just pushing the geometry in, and I can smooth it back out really easily. But the pinch brush actually displaces the geometry and pulls it in, and so when I smooth it out, it takes a little longer to do. And since we're up in the armpit up here, I want to displace it instead of pinch it. How's it going, guys? Welcome to the stream. Whoa. Okay. I'm going to show my concept here again. And I want to fill this area in a little bit because it has kind of a revealing neckline, but not too much. So I want to close this up so I can draw some of this so I can create some of the costume across the top. Okay, so I'm going to take this fill brush and just fill that right up. It's going to look weird for a minute. Hey. Okay, So that's enough of a surface to build the armor on top of. And then we can also fill in down here. So, because it's not really, it's tight, but it's not incredibly tight. So we can kind of fill in that transition. Yeah, that's a good question. So is there much of a reason for a T-pose over an A-pose or vice versa? Yeah, so, her arms are a little too far down. In fact, they should be a little further out. But the reason I like to go for an A-pose rather than a T-pose is because in games, most of the time they have their arms down to their side. So if it's completely straight out, and if it's straight out, the chances of it stretching on top of the shoulder are greater when they put their arms down and having a problem in the armpit area than if it was in an A pose to start with, because you just kind of want your pose closest to what your character is going to be in most of the time. So I hope that makes sense. And yeah, her arms are a little too far down. They should be about at this angle here. That's why I was having a hard time getting up in there. Okay. Now, I don't do too much with this before I start building the costume out. I'll detail this as I go along depending on what is showing and what is not. But sometimes, like on Infinity, what we would do is sometimes we would come in and we would peek some areas out, like we'd bring it like this. That's with a light version of that pinch brush, and then just come back and smooth it out. And then it just gives a nice hard edge that catches the light. And you can see that same with that shin bone on the front. It's probably too much, smooth it back. And then like with the back of the calf, let's move this. Now when you're in Dynamesh mode, you want to turn topological off, because it'll, well, there's nothing topological to move anymore that's not in pieces, and it will slow your computer way down. Oh, okay, cool. Glad I answered your question. Whoops. Let's see. Go back to pinch. You can just kind of, this is how we got those hard edges. So we just drag the pinch brush around there like so. And just subtle, so you'd come in and go out. And it kind of creates an edge. So it creates 3 lines. The main one down the center that you want, and then 2 other ones. Here, I'll do it with a lot of pressure so you can see. You can kind of see that. It's, if you don't have this this ZBrush clay showing, this material, then it's kind of hard to see. That's why it's really good to have it. And I'll put it right here, just a little edge. But like I said, you're not going to be seeing most of this stuff. I just wanted to show you guys. Oh, topological. Let's see. Let me answer your, so a tablet. I used to use a tablet and now I use a Cintiq just because I can draw right on the surface. But a tablet works fantastically. But if you're going to use a tablet, use lazy mouse most of the time. You'll see that this brush I'm using right now has lazy mouse turned on, even though I'm using a Cintiq, because it's kind of like dragging a rock through sand with a string versus just moving the rock around in the sand with your hand. You can get a lot finer curve if you drag it with a string, and that's what lazy mouse does. So you can see that red line dragging behind my cursor. That's the lazy mouse. And in my custom user interface, it's up here, lazy mouse. And this lazy radius is how long that red line is. So how much detail I want to get. So, all right. Let's see. So topological. On my user interface, it's right here. But if you want to put it on your user interface, you just go under Brush and then Modifiers. Let's see. Auto masking. Sorry, it's under auto masking and topological. And that's also where you can find backface mask, and you can adjust the range on this topological. So like I was saying last week in last week's stream, the thing with topological is sometimes you'll use topological move, and all that is a move brush with topological turned on. And what topological is it's just, it'll affect the first object you touch and not its neighbors. And then the range is if you're editing lips, say, and the lips are connected by the cheek. So it might still affect the upper lip when you're adjusting the lower lip. And if you don't want it to do that, you just turn this range down to like 2. And then it'll only adjust the bottom lip or the top lip, even though they're connected. So if that makes sense. But the reason I have this topological button out here is because I can turn topological on for any brush that I want instead of just the move brush. So that's why I have that out there. So I hope that helped you guys out. Yep, no problem. Okay, so, man, these hands are bugging me because they're so sausagey right now. So I'm gonna kind of just tune them up a little bit. Let's see. Whoa, what did I do? I grabbed a spiral brush in place of this. Okay. Let's see. Let's get it back. There we go. Pinch. Okay. And if you guys are interested in these brushes and in my user interface, if you just go to 3dcharacterworkshop.com, not www, just 3dcharacterworkshop.com. The www version right now is broken. I'm trying to fix it. So, but very soon, and hopefully within the next couple of days, I'm going to have a new web page with my ruler in it as well. So I'll have my brushes and my UI and my ruler. So I'll have that available for you guys if you're interested. For free. Okay. I'm just going down and just putting some peaks on the edges of these fingers, just so they're not so sausagey. And they'll probably get overwritten later anyway. And I can also just isolate this hand. And I'm just working on the hand. You'll notice that it's kind of stretching the faces out a little bit because of the density of the thing. And I can just come in here and turn down smoothing. I just kind of go over it like that. It's a little too low. There we go. And it'll smooth it out. Not a ton, but enough. And I can also re-dynamesh and turn this poly count up, but it's kind of dangerous if you get it up to around 2 or more. It starts acting funny. The best place to keep this Dynamesh Master is right at 1.5. So, and I also use this Dynamesh Master for prepping my models for 3D printing, because what it does is it gets rid of all that interior geometry. And so it makes it just one solid mesh without a whole bunch of junk going on inside. And then it's very predictable. This is it's less prone to crashing than the regular Dynamesh. So like we've had models that are up in the 20 to 30 million, 40 million range, and we can still Dynamesh them down and get them all cooked together. It's pretty crazy. It's saved us many times. So thank you, Joseph Drust, if you're watching. It's awesome. Okay. So we're about done here. I want to fill the crack in some spackle, because we're going to be making some pants. and I'm going to cover that area over. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to just kind of take a look at, let's Dynamesh one more time. 1.7. Dynamesh. Okay, sweet, we're doing good. Okay, so I'm gonna close this up and I'm gonna kind of check out the concept here and figure out what I want to build first. And what I usually do is I build the items closest to the skin first and work my way out. So like for example, the pants are very close, and this top, this leather top, and like the bracers are really close, all those things. And then I'll build like say the kneecap things, and then the boots on top of that, and then these things on top of that, just kind of work my way out in layers. Okay, so how I'll usually do this is, let me save really quick. Okay, I'm just saving it. And what I'll usually do is I'll duplicate this off. So I'll make a new subtool and hide the other one, so that way I don't accidentally delete it or mess it up or whatever. And since these pants are only going down inside the boots, I'm only going to build the pants to just barely inside the boots. And then the top of them will be kind of hidden by this belt. And so what I'll do, sometimes I'll retopologize it, sometimes I'll ZRemesh it. It just depends. I'll try different things. Hey, Letitia, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Letitia's a fantastic modeler, by the way. You should look up her stuff. Man, so good. So good. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to switch to the select lasso. Let's see, skip. Sometimes it doesn't take on the first, there we go. Sometimes you have to hit it again, or you have to drag it again. Then I will just hide everything that's not the area where I want to work. Then I'll hit delete hidden. Now this is also with my user interface, this menu here. So if you wonder where these things are at over in the tool menu, this is just kind of a condensed tool menu. And if you wonder where it is, it's just underneath this header, but over on the tool menu. So like modify topology, delete hidden is what I'm going to use. If you go over here, and if you go geometry, see how long this gets? It's like digging forever. I don't even know. Oh, modify topology, delete hidden. There it is right there. So that's why I have this menu. So I don't have to go digging down in here. Okay, so now that I have this, I'm ready to make some pants. And like I said, I have a couple options. I'm going to try and ZRemesh this first, just to see what happens. And since I'm going to do that, I'm going to hide this so it's like the top of the pants. And then I'll adjust it afterwards. So let's see. And once again, I apologize if this pauses the stream. It might pause the stream because it uses up my CPU. Let's go. Okay, so I'm going to open up ZRemesher, and then I'm going to set this to maybe, let's try 2. Make sure symmetry's on, and that's it, just defaults. Okay, here we go, don't pause. You can do it, ZBrush. You can do it, Peter. It's almost there. When it's a pretty dense mesh like this, it takes a minute. So almost there. Don't pause. There we go. Ah, okay. This is what happens when you forget to delete hidden. So now it Z-remeshed everything except for that little thing. But that's okay, because what we can do is we can hide that piece. It looks like it had some problems, but that's okay. Then delete it. And then ZRemesh again. Let's go a little lower. We can go to like 1 maybe. And this will be fast because Z-remeshing, a Z-remeshed mesh, that's a Dr. Seuss book. It's coming out soon. Anyway, if you Z-remesh a Z-remeshed mesh, it's really fast and it gives you good results. So here we go. Fast pants, right? I mean, it looks pretty good. There's a few little issues going on right here, but this isn't a mesh that I'm going to be using for like a game mesh or anything like that. This is just a mesh that I'm going to use to use for the pants. Okay. For not final game mesh. Now I can smooth it down, I can subdivide it, do all sorts of things with it. Let's see, what time is it? It's 9:37. I've been on for 37 minutes. So I'm going for 2 hours. There you go. 36 minutes, 20 seconds. Oh, thank you very much. Bangladesh. Wow. So many people from across the world. That's awesome. Okay. There's this, as you can see, I cannot see the backside of my polygons in there. So on my user interface, I've pulled out this double-sided button right here, so you can see the backside. And where that is located is just under, let's see, display properties double, right there, display properties double. And I've just dragged that out and stuck it on my UI there. Okay. So now we can show see, this is why I duplicated the body, is because I didn't want to mess it up. So now I can see those pants on there, and of course they're going to be the exact same location as the skin. And I'm going to show you a little trick. Let's turn the wireframe off. Okay, I'm going to show you a little trick to inflate those pants out. All you got to do is use your transpose tool, tap on the surface, and then right click this back red dot, and you can inflate just like that. Whoop. Pretty easy. I'm trying to see how far here. And you can tap anywhere on the surface and it'll align itself to that surface direction. It's called the surface normals. Really cool. Anywhere you want. Okay. Sketch Republic. Oh my goodness. What time is it there? And what time is it in Bangladesh? Yeah. Pixelogic is recording this and it will be up on their site. I think, I don't know, maybe Kyle, you can answer this, but shortly after. Oh, do you like those, Kyle? Cool. You'll like the ruler, I think. So the ruler, I'll tell you about the ruler really fast. Because I worked with Joseph Druss to make this ruler. He helped me out. Because scale in ZBrush is crazy, and it drives me crazy because it's 9:30 in the morning. Awesome. Okay, so this ruler, let me show you really quick. It looks like she's embedded in there. So this ruler, I made this ruler, well, I made a similar ruler when I was working at Disney Interactive, because the ZBrush units, they're kind of just generic units. You don't really know, you can't, it's not like another 3D program where you can set it to like centimeters or meters or anything like that. Which is okay because that's how you can get it to display millions and millions and millions of polygons, because the scene will snap to the size of your model. And the downfall of that is you don't know what size your model is compared to any other 3D programs if you ever want to export them out. So what I did was I made this ruler in Maya, and I made it 2 meters tall. And then I marked it with 20 centimeters. I know 20 centimeters doesn't equal 2 meters, but it's metric, so it's universal, and you can just use this ruler however you want, and you can make it 200 millimeters tall if you want to make it millimeters. So anyway, I made it so this ruler can go back and forth between Maya and ZBrush really easily, and then I made it so you can export anything to a 3D printer at 200 millimeters and it'll work. It's so cool. So anyway, I'll get that to you guys soon, and it works pretty cool. I'm having my buddy Michael, the Pavlov, test it right now to see if I'm up in the night, see if I'm dreaming about it. He streams on here too. You guys should check out Michael. He's a fantastic teacher, very great speaker, and a knowledge fountain about ZBrush. Okay, so sorry, I didn't mean to dwell on the ruler too much. I'm just excited about it. So yeah, measuring stick, but there's some specific things that you have to do to get it to work. And one of those things is under this export. The difference between ZBrush and Maya is 100, but only if you start with the scene and go back and forth. It's really, yeah, I don't want to get into it too much, but yeah, you have to do certain things. So that's why whenever I start a new model, a fresh scene, I always start with that. It's a project file with my ruler in it. I always start with that and then load my tools into it. That way I know it's the right scale every single time, back and forth. And then I don't have to cry about it. Okay, so enough about that. It should be available soon, hopefully. Okay. Yes. Also, there's a trial of ZBrush available. I believe it's like down in the Twitch channel of Pixelogic's Twitch channel. If you want to try any of this stuff out, you can. Okay. These pants are okay. She's looking like a pirate, right? Pirate, arr, her little pants. So I made the pants go way past her knees, even though they kind of stop at her knees, because if I ever need to cut them back, it's better to cut the pants back than to build them out again. Let's see. I'm just kind of looking where that belt line falls, because I like how it hangs on her hips right here. Yeah, yes, core is available. This is ZBrush 4R7. So some of the stuff that I'm going to be doing here is not available to do in core. I don't believe core has the Z remesher, but you can build something out of primitives in core really easily, and it's nice. Whoa, my smooth is too high. Okay, looking better. Now, looks like she has some like an additional layer of this leather over the top, like stirrups, or I'm not quite sure. Just some leather detail on top. So she's got pants, and then leather, and then a belt. So I'm trying to figure that out. It looks like there's this sword holster. What's a scabbard holster? That's a gun. This sword scabbard is strapped right here around her leg. Yeah, like chaps kind of. So the chaps I would build the same way. I just pop them off there. I'm trying to decide if I want to do that right now, if I want to show you guys a different technique, and I'll just build the belt really quick. Yeah, thanks, Kyle. There's the features of ZBrush Core. I might be doing some ZBrush Core specific streaming for Pixellogic soon, hopefully. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. Let's see. So let's build that belt really quick. Once again, I'm going to pick the body, duplicate, and then kind of get an idea of where that belt is. Ah, the Bay Area. Yeah, what time? Let's see. Is it like 8:46 in the Bay? Kind of early. Okay, so what I usually do for small items like this belt is I'll just use the topology brush. And that's another thing specific to ZBrush 4R7 is the topology brush. It's really nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the top line where the belt's going to go. Then I'll hide the pants and draw the bottom line. And you can continue this line by hovering over the green dot and just draw it all the way around until it meets in the back. Let's see, and then hide those pants. All right. My computer is freezing up a little bit. Okay, there we go. Oh, hey, 3D Printed. Welcome back, man. 4:06 in the morning. Jeez. Dedicated ZBrushers. Whoa. Okay. You don't have to be perfect because you can munge this around later on. But how this works is anywhere you cross, so I'm going to cross this down the center, and anywhere you make a square, it makes a quad, like that. Then you can clean it up by holding down Alt and just dragging anywhere on the model, and it'll clean it right up. Okay, let's see. I wish I could have gone. Oh yeah, Monster Palooza is going on right now. So awesome. Yeah, a lot of my friends were there and they were posting pictures from it. Like those masks of the presidents were there. That was hilarious. If you haven't seen that, look up Monster Palooza masks. So good. Okay. Now, for this, what I do, I can either do two things. One of two things. I can either set my brush size to the thickness that I want the belt, and then just tap on the surface, and it will create new geometry with thickness. As you can see, it has a back side and a front side, and it pre-creases it as well. So I can do that, or if I want more control, I can turn my brush size all the way down to a 1, and then just tap on the surface, and sometimes it doesn't work. You have to do it a couple times till it works. You have to be like Johnny on the spot with it. Come on. Boom. Do it. There we go. Okay, so it's hidden in there. It's just when you do a draw size of 1, it's just going to make a single-sided object. Okay, and then I can hide everything but that. Let's see. Here, I have all these poly groups, so I'm trying to hide it. Inverse hidden and hide this. Whoops. There we go. Okay, so now everything's hidden. Now I can say delete hidden and then show double-sided. Now I can see the belt, and I'm going to uncrease all so nothing is creased. And now what I can do is show the pants, and now they're kind of far away from the surface of her skin. And I can push those in, like manually go and work my way around. But what I can do with this now is the same thing that I showed you guys previously and kind of inflate this out like so. And then go back and clean up some of these edges so they're not so gangly. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, new books, awesome. That's always the fear of those conventions, man. I go and I come home with like a duffel bag full of books every time. I want to support my fellow artists and buy their stuff because some of them are so good and you learn so much. Like I just bought Steven Silver's new book. So good. He did a Kickstarter and it's awesome. Great character stuff in there. Okay, I'm going to make this a little thicker based on that. And I'm going to kind of cheat because instead of making this a real belt that actually goes and loops around like that, I might, but it's easier and faster because time is money. It's faster to build each of these pieces separately, even though, you know, technically it should be part of the same belt wrapping around and going down. So it just depends. Am I going to do a book 2? I don't know, maybe. I mean, my dream is to just model a whole bunch of models and then release a book would be great, or 3D prints or whatever, you know. But what I'm working on right now is I'm working on a course. I'm working on a really big course, and it should be releasing any day now. I'm super close, but it's a mentored big course that I've been working on for the last 2 years, and it's kind of similar to how I'm teaching now, but some parts are scripted, so I'm not going and I have scripts and a whole page of notes and everything, so you only get what you need. Okay, so now that I'm at this point, there's 2 things I can do. I can either use the Z modeler brush and extrude it like so. If I hold down space and hit extrude and hit all, polygroup all, then I can extrude this guy and it extrudes out. But that's essentially what I got when I just tapped on the surface and it gave me thickness, right? So, but it's fast if you want to build something out flat and then extrude different pieces and not necessarily the whole thing. That's a quick way to use the Z modeler brush. But most of the time in games, when you're doing normal maps, you want the object details to be beveled towards the outside, so then the rays can catch that bevel. Because if those edges are 90 degrees or more, so the rays won't even see those edges, you're not going to see them in your normal maps. Now usually belts, you don't collect the edges of belts in your normal maps, but I wanted to show you how to do a bevel. And how you do that, I mean, you can do it with the Z modeler brush, that works too. But let's see. You can go under geometry and edge loop, and there's this thing called panel loops. And I showed this at the ZBrush Summit, 2 years ago? So you can turn your loops down to 1 and turn your thickness up. It might take a little bit of adjusting. And then you can turn your bevel up to like a 14 or so. If you click on this bevel profile, you can see usually it looks something like this when you first start it. This bevel profile I've built into that ruler file. So the settings I like to use are just kind of built into that project. That's why they're already set to how I like it. But anyway, you go and you put the bevel like so, and what that's going to do is it's going to make it bevel, let's see, like this. If you're the camera looking at the rays, it's going to bevel like this. So let's try it. Okay, so let's turn that bevel up even more and try it again. There we go. So now you can see that as you're looking down at the belt, then you can tell. Let's see, 3D printed. Everything to create a finished game character. Yes. So I'm gonna, in the course that I'm making, that's why it's taken me so long, is I'm going from nothing, from scratch, all the way to finished game character, retopologized, UV'd, inside a game engine. You know, like you could take it into like Unity, Unreal, or something like that. Okay, so anyway, it was a huge undertaking. So, and I'm almost done. Thank you everybody for being so patient, and I hope you guys like it. So, oh, thanks. Glad you like it. Okay, so yeah, I love using that bevel trick, especially for like pieces of armor on the arms, and you know, wherever you want it to actually bevel in. That way you can control it. It's really nice. Otherwise, if I was to like say extrude it out with the Z modeler, it's kind of more difficult to push those faces in and get a nice bevel, if you know, than it is to just use the panel loop thing and put a bevel on it. So, but sometimes it's not always perfect. Excuse me. Sometimes it won't bevel like you want, so you have to tweak it a little bit. Anyway, now that belt, it's a little thick, but that's okay. And I want to put, now that I have it kind of how I want it, this is with the dynamic subdivision turned on. Now we can go in here and kind of push it closer to the body. I have used that program before, and it's great. It's great for a free program, and it's getting better all the time. But not to sculpt with. Right. Okay, let's see. Now I'm just kind of looking to see where that belt is hitting, to see if that's kind of where I want it to hit. She has a much shallower hips. I added some hips in here that are a little wider than what the concept has. I'm just taking a little bit of liberty in there just to, you know, make it a little more appealing, I guess. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. This is all editable, and I can push it back and make it straighter. And Johannes has drawn this really cool because it's got this nice flow and rhythm going all the way through there and all the way through here. But I just wanted to kind of kick it out a little bit more, just to kind of see what it does there. Okay, so let's see. All right, yeah, keep those questions coming though. Let's see. I'm going to build the boot now. And if there's any specific piece that you're wondering how I would build it, just ask. Yeah, right. I'm just a fan of just the hourglass stuff a little more, so I like to push it. I need to fill this stuff in too. It's getting a little too much anatomy happening back here still. I'll clean that up. Shaking my camera, sorry. Okay. So to do the boots, and you'll notice I kind of do this over and over and over again. I'll just do the same thing, meaning I will come up here for the next part and I will duplicate the body and I'll hide the one that I'm not working on. So I have the boots. I'm going to hide the pants for a moment. Let's see. Did you have any experience with a Form 2? Which one would you recommend for personal use to keep a good level of fine details? So Form 2, I know a lot of people that have them. I don't have personal experience with one, but it's on my bucket list to get one. I would really, really love one. And I at Disney Interactive, we had a Envision Tech, which was like a crazy expensive version of a Form 2. And I know that a Form 2 is very, very nice, especially for the cost. At the consumer level, it does a fantastic job. So yeah, that's my favorite printer of all. If I could afford one, I would have one. So yeah, it's good. Okay, so the boots. I'm going to do the same thing like I did with the pants, and I'm just going to cut them off. Okay, I kind of want the boot cuff to slope upwards towards the calf a little bit. So I'm actually going to turn it to the side, turn perspective off, and then kind of just draw a line. That's a trick for you. If you'll notice, when I did that, I'm using Select Lasso. This is Select Lasso, right? And you'll notice at the end, it draws a straight line to where you first started drawing, right? So it's a straight line. And use that straight line to your advantage. I want to draw a diagonal straight line across her leg. So I start over here where I want it to start, and then come over here, and I'm using that straight line. Boom, just like that. Okay, now delete hidden, and I'm just going to ZRemesh this guy. At about, let's say 2 again. Should go quicker. Yeah, Form 2 does take a long time to print. It's like the InvisionTech did too. They take hours and hours and hours and hours. So like one Infinity character would take a good 12 to 14 hours depending on how tall it was. You could even lay it down and it would still take forever. It was a long time. Because it's printing in micro-millimeter layers, like hundreds of millimeters, just paper thin, over and over and over. Okay. So that gave me kind of messy polygons around the edge here. That's okay. Turn it down to 1 and hit it again. That sort of cleaned them up. Like I said, I don't really care about the underlying geometry right now. I only want them close enough that I can work with them. And then, because I'm going to retopologize these later anyway, I just want them able to be worked with. Yeah, it does. But those extrusion printers, since the thickness of each layer is a little thicker, it takes less time. But still a long time. Okay, so let's show the body again. You'll see the boots are kind of shoved in there. So do the same thing I did with the pants. Click on the surface and pull them out. Whoop. Okay. And another trick you can do with ZRemesher is you can cut this off level. I'm going to do it really quick. So what I mean by level is level with the world. Here, I'll show you. I'll go back to before I ZRemeshed. Right here. So ZRemesher will have problems when it's on an angle. It'll try and figure out that edge. So what you can do is you can build it flat and then pull it after you've built it. Let's see, as long as it gets the job, yep. When does my class come out? This month. I'm trying for this month. Hopefully in the next week or 2, maybe 2 weeks. That's my hope. Oh yeah, no kidding, right? Messy, yeah, you're totally right. Let's see, try one of those new LCD printers. Yeah, those LCD printers, they look pretty sweet. I haven't seen one in action yet. I want to see the proof. So, okay, let's see. Here we go, straight across. Straight as I can get it. Now, and you can also use ZRemesher guides. I usually don't, but you know, you can if you want. Make sure I delete hidden, that is key. Otherwise it'll just ZRemesh this foot and then leave the rest and it'll be a mess and take forever. And sometimes make ZBrush crash. So let's see, ZRemesher. Turn this to 2 again. Let's see if it does a better job. Awesome creatures. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for dropping by. I'm doing great. Thanks. Let's see, is my Gumroad video still relevant while we wait for your workshop to come online? Yes and no. I mean, it is, but it's really, my Gumroad one was for early adopter, very beginner-ish. And this new one is goes way deeper, a lot deeper. But it still uses a similar technique of what you just saw in the previous stream where I build out things with primitives. But there are some new techniques that I've learned from just using it and from my friends like Steve James and Michael DeFeo and those guys that I've adapted and now I reteach. Like Mirror and Weld is one, and I'm trying to remember like the auto group thing, and yeah, just stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's still relevant. If you guys want to, if you guys are interested in checking it out, it's if you look up Shane Olson Gumroad, and it's a frog. It's just a frog. And I've had that up there forever. People seem to enjoy it, so I'm just straightening out these edges. Okay, I don't know why. I'm just talking, rambling on. How did I change the UI color? Let's see. Hold on. Let me go up. Is the course going to be block payments? I'm not doing payments right away. I might in the future if enough people request it. But right out of the gate, I'm just going to do just because I don't want to mess with it. I just want to do one price, and it's priced similarly to like Mold 3D courses or ZBrush workshops or Schoolism, you know, those kind of things. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to ZRemesh this at a lower count. There we go. Okay, just stylized characters like this one. Yeah, but the one I do in my course is a lot simpler than this, so you can follow along easier. Okay, let's see. Okay, Z intensity. You want to have a seriously low smooth when you're smoothing this low of geometry. And how you adjust the intensity of smooth is just hold down Shift and just drop that down to like a 5. Then when you smooth, it's much easier. What did I ignore? Using slice curve won't give you a better border. Not necessarily. I mean, it will, but it's just I don't know. I just don't use it. I don't know why. It does give you a nice edge, but that's not ZRemesher. When you ZRemesh something, it's on a grid, right? It's on an up and down grid. So when you're trying to ZRemesh something that's diagonal, it doesn't matter how clean your edge is. It's going to try and make those polygons that are square and aligned with the world. It's going to try and fit those to that diagonal edge, and that's not necessarily what you want. So you can do the slice curve and get a nice edge, but it's still going to have that problem. So it's something to experiment with. Let's see. I'm going to do a mask lasso and blend that fade, and then roll this up. And that's how I get straight polygons on an angle. Let's see. Thanks, Messi. I try. It's the difference between creating character for game and creating character for animation feature from a technical aspect. I honestly, I have not built a character for feature, so I can only tell you from second-hand information. And one is they're more dense. You can get away with a lot more polygons. And two, they don't use normal maps like game engines use normal maps. And you can get away with subdivision levels inside of a rendered film engine where you can't inside of a game engine. That's why you use normal maps. And typically film tends to have like cloth physics, whereas in games you only get cloth physics if you have something like a cape or a long coat or something like that. Whereas in a film, you build the cloth and everything has physics built into it, and the cloth is thinner because of it. So if you'll notice in like, I don't know, The Incredibles or any of those Pixar films, the cloth is actually the thickness of real cloth. But if you're doing stylized characters like this, you tend to make the cloth thicker, especially if you're going to print it in 3D. You want to go really thick. You want to go like, I don't know, a good 3 millimeters or 2 millimeters. You know, you don't want to go too thin or it's going to break off. So, yep. And hair, Hair is a whole different beast. Let's see. Yes, I do have my own Twitch channel. It's just Shane Olson Art. I don't know if somebody wants to post that, my Twitch channel link in there. And I haven't been streaming very much because I've been just focused on my course like crazy. But it's almost done, so I'll be streaming a lot more, hopefully, in the future. Okay, all right. Let's pop this boot out. Let's see, blah-blah. So you can use physics for hair and fur, but it's expensive. In a game engine, it's expensive. So it's if you do that kind of stuff, you're giving up other things, or you know, it depends. It depends on what game it is and what console it's on and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, you can. And they're usually done with hair cards rather than actual like hair. Yeah, like fiber mesh. You can't really use fiber mesh in a game, but you can use it if it's like, you know, thin strips of hair that you then texture on top of. Like if you see The Witcher, the hair in The Witcher is done so well, and that's all done with hair cards and physics. But just the tips, so like the entire hair helmet is not physics, just the tips. Thanks, Kyle. All right, yeah, keep them. Okay, so I'm gonna hit D for dynamic subdivision, turn off wireframe, and just kind of look at this boot. And then you can start forming it a little better. So that's the thing between, that's the difference between Dynamesh and something that's subdivided with lower resolution geometry. Is it's more difficult to make large moves on a Dynameshed mesh than it is on a low resolution mesh. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Horizon Zero Dawn was done with hair cards, which is done really well, really well. That's some of the best hair I've seen in a game. I need to play that game. It's on my bucket list. My game list. As soon as my course comes out, I want to play. I want to play the new Zelda, and I'd love to play Horizon, and I'd love to play the new Mass Effect. Yeah, Fabio worked on that. Is his name Fabio, Kyle? What's his name? I'm pretty sure he's always at the ZBrush Summit, and he kicks butt in the sculpt off competition. That guy. His hard surface skills are incredible. Okay, what am I doing? I'm yapping. Okay, let's build a soul on this boot really quick. I'll show you how to do that. So I'm actually going to make, so right now it's dynamically subdivided, which means it's just a preview. So it's not really being subdivided, but I want it to really be subdivided. So I'm going to apply the dynamic subdivision, which is right here, and you just hit apply. And now it's really subdivided, and it has 3 subdivisions. And I'm gonna give it a couple more to smooth that out. And then what I wanna do to make the soul is I want to smooth that out. the animations. Yes, I know about the animations. They've apparently fixed a lot of them. But to their, you know what, to their credit, I've got to give them credit, because I've been in animation and motion capture before. Like I worked on a game called Advent Rising for the Xbox, and we did motion capture for that game, and like 3 of us did 45 minutes of cinematics for that entire game, and it was a lot of work. And I know how many cinematics are in Mass Effect. I can just imagine what they had to go through to get that. But yeah, they've fixed it in the meantime. Okay, my spiral is still this brush. There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do to make this soul is I'm going to pinch an edge to make the soul flat. And I'm kind of just following the highlight that the light is giving me to bring that around. So I'm rotating my camera just so the light catches that highest peak as it rolls around the bottom of the foot there. Then I'm just going to take this polish brush and just kind of polish it out a little bit. And smooth it down. I'm going to turn my smooth back up. Yeah. Do I get distracted by the models and textures in games? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I just admire the heck out of games that are really well done. Like the characters that Naughty Dog does are just some of the most insanely well done characters. And Destiny and yeah, like The Witcher. The Witcher just blows me away. If you can feel empathy for a game character, yeah, and like Horizon Zero Dawn, that's really good too. And I was playing Shadows of Mordor for a little while. Those are really well done. And yeah, I'll go park somewhere, you know, like just away from all the danger, and then hopefully I can unhook the camera and I can get in there and check it out and see how they did things. I do that all the time. It's really good. Also look for ways, or look for the artists. Usually the artists that work on those titles, they'll put their stuff up on ArtStation. Like not too long ago, the artists from Overwatch, they did a huge dump. And that's some of the best ways to learn, is to go check out what they've done and go, you know, nitpick the heck out of it and get in there and just really look and see how they built those things. The Overwatch characters are amazing. I don't know if Letitia's still in here, but she's one of the team members on Overwatch, and yeah, it's such a really well done game. Characters, normal maps, and all that stuff. They struck a really nice chord between slightly realistic and very stylized, and yeah, it's just really nice. That's hard to do. Okay, so I'm flattening this out, and I want to have a plane change between like where the bottom of the foot is, and then where it starts to go up, and then plane change again. So I want 3 planes on here. And another way you can do that is you can clip it. So you want to make sure your perspective is turned off, and then you can grab this clip curve brush. Make sure it's active. You hold down Control plus Shift, and you can just, yeah, sometimes it doesn't work right away. Okay, you can just drag it, and you can hold spacebar to move it around. And then if you double tap on Alt like that, it'll make a sharp corner. And then you can double tap again, and then let go, and then let it do its magic. Boom. Sweet. There's a little nugget for you guys. Okay, and then while I'm on the top, I'm going to pinch this where the plane changes on the top. And I'll be pulling this toe way out and adjusting all this stuff. Let's see. No. Distracted by, I played, oh yeah, RE7, awesome. Met and had drinks with the Naughty Dog team. Yes, yeah, I know a couple of those guys. They're crazy. Photo mode and Horizon is fantastic. Yes, I can't wait. Epic Game Artists dumps, yes, and the Mass Effect guys, they've just barely put a big dump, big art dump on ArtStation. You should go check it out. It's really good, really good. Yes, give Letitia love. Let's see. No, let's see. Yep. Nuggets. Okay, let's see. So now that this is shaped like so, it's not quite parallel with the ground. Now I can go back in my lower subdivision levels. I don't leave it at my high subdivision level. I put it at my lower. And now I can, I do the same thing with the mask. And with the mask lasso, it has that straight line, just like that. See the straight line? And so I can use that to cut across the toe, and then invert mask and rotate it up just a little bit, just to be parallel with the ground. And then I want to fade that mask, invert it, fade it. And how you fade it, you just hold Control down and you just tap on the surface of the model. And then I'm going to, it's kind of weird if you're used to box modeling in Maya, there's what's it called, non-uniform scale, where you want to just scale it down one axis. And a lot of people will try and aim this transpose tool exactly the direction that they want to go, and then translate it that way. But I find that sometimes that's in the way, because my hand, I'm on the Cintiq. It would be different if I was using a tablet, but on the Cintiq, my hand's right in the way because I'm right-handed. So what I'll do is I'll flip that transpose tool around, or I'll just draw it backwards from the direction that I want to scale that out, and then I'll scale it out just like that. Boop. So then I can get out of my own way. Okay, let's zoom out and kind of check this out. Let's shape this foot a little better. So now that I have a flat surface on the bottom of the foot, the move brush works on the plane of the camera. So if I have the camera like turned like this and I move it, it's going to move that off of plane. So now that nice clip job that I just did is ruined. So you'll want to make sure that you snap the camera. Either snap it like this or snap it like this. And then when you move, you're moving it on plane, so you're not going to break it. Let's see. Ba-ba. Oh yeah, nice. Linking to the good stuff. Oh yeah, the prop guys. Why do you model the feet not flat on the floor? I do on occasion, but I don't want to be I don't want to be stuck to it. You know, it's just like the geometry of the thing. That's why I build everything out in primitives, because I don't want to be hindered by what's holding me back. And that goes the same with the floor. Like I can build my characters flat and move them up so their feet are on the floor anytime I want, right? So I just hide the floor, so it's not like, oh, I got to keep my feet on the floor and it's hindering me. So I don't, and then I'll move it later. So I hope that answers your question. And the second answer is I'm lazy. So let's see. I'm just shaping this a little better. And I am messing up with my plane changes a little bit, but that's okay. There we go. And we'll, these toes are quite bulbous, so we'll get them. And it's because I want to build this, toe cover on the end there. Shinomac, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. Let's see. How do you fix, okay, let's see. Why would you want to work in the perspective view? So with this ruler project, I actually turn my focal point of view down. So you can do this. It's in draw mode and this angle of view right here. So ZBrush, since it's a 2.5D program, it doesn't have a traditional viewport. It has a ZBrush viewport, and its perspective is actually skewing the model in space, and it's trying to match as close as possible to a real world camera, but it's not perfect. So it ships with, I think, the view set to 60 or 70 or something like that. I can't remember, but I like to set it to 29. So when I hit perspective, it doesn't change that much. Here, let me unhide everything. Let me hide that ruler so you can kind of see it. Now let me turn off perspective. See, it barely changes, and that's closer to a 35mm camera rather than like a really crazy fisheye point of view. And so that's something you can do. Let's see. And so I usually work with perspective turned off, because I usually snap from the side or snap from the front. It depends on what I'm doing. So hope that answered your question. The only time I really work in perspective view is I'm down to the pose level, and I'm trying to get the pose to match the concept as closely as I possibly can. And I'll start to munge that pose around, and I'll be looking at it in perspective view. So that's when I would use perspective. Let's see. You have symmetry problems a lot too. If I accidentally move a polygroup and realize it's super late. So there are a few things that you can do to fix broken symmetry. And it depends on if you have subdivided geometry or not. And if you do have subdivided geometry, that the fix to fix symmetry is long. Like I don't want to get into it here. Maybe I'll write it down as a note to show you in the next stream, because I haven't done it in a long time, honestly. But if you don't have subdivision levels, it's super duper easy. All you do is do the mirror and weld. If you watch last week's stream, I actually go over it and how to fix it, and especially if it makes like little channels down the center when you do a mirror and weld. I show you how to fix those channels. But if your whole model gets off of symmetry, gosh, I'm trying to remember. I'll write it down and come and watch the next one, and I'll try and address that. So, okay, because I don't want to leave you hanging. But there is a way to do it. It's just a little more difficult with subdivided geometry. Okay, let's see. Unity. Okay. Hey, Brennan is here. It tells on you, Brendan. How's it going? Skeletons have foot bones and toe bones to skin and rig, so it wouldn't make sense to model the foot flat. Oh, I'm modeling the shoe flat. So, and I'm modeling it in this pose as well. So it's in a boot. Does that answer your question? It's not. It's going to be in this boot, so I didn't make it flat on the ground. But I think you were talking about flat in space, right? On the floor. Like, why isn't this foot up here on the floor? So maybe you can clarify what you meant by that. Okay, so let's see. Brennan. All right. I love Brennan. He's awesome. Watch his stream. He also streams on here. He does. I've learned so much stuff. Okay, let's see. Ask the side you want to keep. Yeah, smart resim. That's a way to do it. But it only works part of the time. So it works a lot of the time. But I think they're talking about if your model like completely shifts off center, like accidentally completely shifts. And that is more than just the smart resim fix. But yes, smart resim will fix most of the stuff, especially if you're going to use that. Go down to the lowest subdivision level first and use it on that one, and then work your way up. So, and you can find that under, and thanks for reminding me about that, by the way, but you can find that under deformation and smart resim right here. And how that works is you mask the half that you want to keep. So you turn symmetry off. Here, I'll show you really quick. Say this is messed up like that, right? So you mask the side that you want to keep, and then you hit Smart Resim, and then it'll pop it back. Does that make sense? So that is a way to do it if your symmetry is off that way. But if your entire model is off like this, that's a whole different thing. I mean, you can move it back and kind of get it in the center, and try and resim it that way. That's a way to do it. But to actually really do it, if you're in a bind for real, there's a different method to do it, but I can't remember it right now. I'm sorry. Oh, let's see. Da-da-da. Oh, thanks. Yeah, Matt's awesome though. I love Matt. He's awesome. I miss him. I miss working with him. I don't work with him anymore. He is at chair now, working. Let's see. Da-da-da. Yes, the model has heels. Yes. Sorry, I wasn't more clear about that. I also, if I'm gonna kind of pimp one more page of mine because I love it, is my Pinterest page. My Pinterest page, I don't know if one of you guys can link to it, but it has a ton of reference. So anatomical reference and inspirational art reference and sculpture, like traditional sculpture reference, all sorts of stuff. Hands, feet, anatomy, the whole body. Just I've collected it over years and years and years of pinning my crap, and it's all there. So if you guys want to check it out, go check it out. Oh, no Pinterest. No Pinterest. Okay, just look for me, Shane Olson art, or Shane Olson on Pinterest. Looks like it's not letting you pin it. What is it over there? There you go. Yay! Thanks, Jay. Awesome. Okay. Anyway, there you go. You can see my boards. Lots of stuffs. Okay, let's get back to it, shall we? Get this done. What time are we looking at? 10:33. Okay. I just want to show you how I do the sole of the boot. Okay, I already showed you the topological way of drawing geometry on there, and that's probably what I would do, but I also wanted to show you guys a different way. Okay, let me save this first because sometimes it doesn't work. Okay. I want to hide those eyeballs, they're distracting. Okay, and the belt. So we're just looking at the boots. Okay. Let's see. You'll have to ask the master Kyle. All right. So what you need to do this method, this is just a different method of creating geometry, and it's a more, how do I want to say, it's a little bit cleaner method than just trying to draw the lines all over the place, because you're putting it down point by point by point. And how you do that is you have to go to your subtool menu and hit Insert, and then click on the Z-sphere. And the Z-sphere is huge, so we can make that smaller. And it's been a while since I've done this. Let's see, not adaptive skin. Topology. And then you hit Edit Topology. And then you can see this little tiny Z-sphere dot right here. That's the beginning. That's how you know you're in topology mode. And then you can just kind of start drawing dots on here. And then anytime you close, that's going to draw, when you hit, let's see, A, you can't really see it, but it's going to draw a single-sided geometry, just like with the topology brush, but it's a little more controlled, as you can see. And the red circle indicates the start. That's where the line is going to come from. So if you want to move that start location, you just hover over one of these other dots, hold down Control and tap it, and it'll move that red circle. So then you can go from there. Let's see. And as you can tell, this is a lot longer and slower process. yeah, that's a good warning, Kyle. No shenanigans. Okay, so if I wanted to just have a sole up here and then one down on the heel, I could just start drawing down here, but I actually want to continue it all the way across the boot. So I'm just going to keep going. Let's see. Sorry, bear with me. I'm going to try and go faster. Draw points faster. And I don't know if you noticed, but around the toe tip, I actually brought it in, and it's still a quad. You can do a triangle, that's okay, but try and stick with quads if you can. It just makes mo better geometry. Okay, ta-da. Oh yes, topology. Let's see, boom. Thanks. Yay, all the Pinterest followers. Oh, is there video buffering? I hope so. I hope so. I hope not. Hope not. Okay, let's see. What is the Royal Collection? 3D printed. What is that? I have not checked it out. Let's see. Yeah, I'll have to come back and then check yours out next. Okay, so another thing you can do is with this is, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but if you go to your move brush, this move. If you click on move, you can move these points around. And when you're using the topology brush and you're drawing the lines on your surface, the lines that you drew, you're pretty much stuck with. You can move them around a little bit, but they're so dense that editing them is kind of fruitless. But with this, you can come back with your move brush and move around. And if you want to come back in and draw some more, you just go back to draw, and you'll see that this little gray dot, it's splitting these points. So if I want to do one more line down the center, for example, I can click on here, except for it drew. Let's clear that out. There we go. Click up here and then just go down like this. Okay, I'm going to undo that. And it'll give you, it'll snap in fourths. So this is a 1/4, and this is the middle, and this is another fourth. So that's something you can do as well. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to hit A, which will make the topology, and it's doing some weird stuff. So what I want to do is go to adaptive skin, turn the density down to 1. And it's still giving me some weird stuff. So I'm just gonna have to fix that after I make it. But this is another step that you have to do, is you have to click on make adaptive skin. And that's gonna make a new tool that's not even part of your model anymore. It's gonna pop it out into this new tool, and it's gonna be all by itself, all sad and alone. And so this Z-sphere is still in Z-sphere mode, so it's not a mesh. The mesh you just made is up here. So you have to put that in your list of meshes. And to do that, you just hit append, and then you click it, and it puts it over here. Now it's part of your subtool list, and you can get rid of your Z-sphere version now. So just hit delete, and it'll go away. And now you have this, and we can clean it up. Let's see. Is the method you use for putting digital gear on arms, such as Boba Fett's communicator? Yes, this is the very same. Except for I would draw the topology, if you rewatch this broadcast and go back to the beginning, I show you exactly how I do it. And that's the exact same way I showed at the ZBrush Summit with the Boba Fett thing. Okay, so let's see what this is doing here. I can go to my Z modeler brush, and I'm just going to weld this shut. So if I hold my space bar, hit stitch to endpoint, 2 points to endpoint, click here, click there, bam, done. Thank you. All done. Now what I can do is I'm still on the Z modeler brush, and I'm just going to extrude this guy out. So extrude, polygroup all, whoop, just like that. Let's check it out. Let's see. It's a database, all the great art throughout history. Oh, nice. Very high. Oh, that'd be awesome for checking out statues and stuff, probably, right? How do you delete points on the topology? Oh, dang. Sorry, Blue Fire. All you do is hold down Alt and tap, but it will delete that dot and all of the edges around it. So you have to draw them all back. Okay, so just be careful with it. So it's Alt and then you just tap on it and it'll go away. Okay, Ashen, hey, how's it going? Let's see, doing great. I'm trying to retopo your character. Yeah, you can totally retopo your character in here if you want. Nice. What platform are you releasing your tutorial, and how much does it cost? So my course is on my own platform, and you'll find, if you want information on it, just go to, you'll see up top, it says 3D Character Workshop. Just go to 3dcharacterworkshop.com. And if you sign up to get my free brushes, you'll be on my newsletter and you'll know about it. And I'll tell you about it when it's coming. It's soon. It's like before the end of the month. Super, super cool. And as far as price, I'm not going to tell you the exact price yet because I'm not quite sure, but it'll be similar to like the Mold 3D, ZBrush workshops, Schoolism, stuff like that. So it's not a little Gumroad tutorial. It's a big course. So I'm actually going to undo this. I'm going to go back to before I extruded this. There we go. Whoops, but I want to go forward where I welded that together because I want to better fit this to the shoe before I extrude it. That's the beauty of doing things this way. And that's what I tried to explain at the ZBrush Summit. When you make things like this, you can always delete it. As long as you haven't done any surface sculpting, you can always delete everything except for that single plane of polygons. You can always go back to that level and edit it, edit the heck out of it. For example, like when I was talking about the Boba Fett cape, we had that cape go in one direction, clear out. And we wanted to try it. What will it look like if it's going the other direction? Does it look better in that pose? Does the flow and everything work better? And so we tried it. But once you have the whole thing sculpted, you're just like, oh no, what do I do? You know, my art director is wanting me to move it completely opposite. Well, all you have to do is delete everything down to that single plane, and then it's much, much easier to edit. Then you can just put the extrusion on there and give it some thickness, and then rework the sculptural details back in. So then it's not so painful. Okay, let's. I'm just going to go through here, and sometimes I like to bring the sole out beyond the boot. So it has kind of that, as the boot goes around, it has that little lip that goes in, and then it goes around to the sole. It's kind of nice. Let's see. Would your course show how to hollow out a model for 3D printing? I do talk about 3D printing. I talk about how to prep your model for 3D printing, but I don't quite go into that. But since you've requested it, I might, because my course is, I'm trying to make it so it's flexible. So if people want to learn specific things, I can always make a new lesson that includes that thing and then add it in for free. I'm not gonna, once you're in, you're in. I'm not gonna charge anymore. Like ZBrush. ZBrush is model is so awesome for that. It's like once you buy ZBrush, updates are free, and I love that model. Let's see. Say the same thing as I said to next, as long as it's appropriate. Yeah, covering the butt. One is 4R8. Yep, 4R8. I'm waiting for it too. I can't wait for that thing. Found the whole Da Vinci's collection today. Jeez Louise. That would make me feel unworthy. Like, what am I doing with my life? Okay, so now that I have this, here is the mirror weld thing. And since I built this sole on the left boot, which is our screen right, mirror and weld only works from left to right. So what I have to do is I have to mirror it over there first. So I'll go here and I'll go to deformation. I'll go to mirror and I'll pop it over there. And then I'll go to mirror and weld. Whoops. Except for I have local symmetry turned on. So it mirror and welded that locally. And that's not what I want. So I'll turn that off and then do it again. Boom. There it is. Okay, so local symmetry, just so you know, is up in the transform menu. And it's not out on your menu by default. So if you're trying to do what I just did and you're hitting this button, it's a little bit different. Let's see. Sorry, opposite. So if you're trying, and because this one is on your user interface by default, and this one is not. Local symmetry is not. I've moved it out there. So if you're looking for it, that's where it is. And what that does is, well, you saw what happens when you try and do mirror and weld. It'll mirror and weld locally. But what you really want to use it for is when you're scaling. Okay, so if you want to say I want to scale this, and can you see that it's scaling here? Let me activate symmetry. It's scaling on the center of the world. Well, I want it to scale on itself inside just the sole. So I can click on local symmetry, and then it'll scale on itself. Yay! That's what I want. So very handy. Have it accessible. Put it out there. Let's see. Oh, what did you ask? I'm sorry, Brennan. What did you ask? The chat's like. So yes, thanks for saying, hey, look at me. Can you pop it up there again, and I'll check it out. I'm sorry. Let's see. If I missed your question, throw it up there again. Oh, that link, can't wait to check it out. Yes, I do give out free brushes. And I have a new homepage coming out soon. It's very, very soon. And I'm giving away this ruler that I keep talking about. And it's going to be my brushes, my user interface, and my ruler. And that's what's cool about ZBrush, because ZBrush will allow you to make your own user interface. Everybody complains about the user interface. And yes, it's not like Photoshop or something like that, but you can customize it to be whatever the heck you want. So I learned a ton making my own user interface, because it forced me to dig through the menus and see what I wanted and see all the little things. So then I could say, okay, I want this, I want that, I want this. And I made my own menu, so I'm not digging through this giant tool menu. I have my own custom menu. And you learn a lot from doing it. So it's easy to do. You should try it out. Okay, Brandon, here we go. Is it really okay to have triangle on the side of the fingers for deformation? I've been drilled in school that you shouldn't have triangles in areas of deformation. What's your take? Okay, my take on triangles is, if it's for a mobile game or like a 3DS game, something where you are, and I don't usually start in ZBrush. It's when you're poly modeling and you have a triangle. If you look on my Pinterest page in the polygon flow, the polygon flow board, you'll actually see a very low resolution one where it shows you how they've put in triangles and bent it, and it actually does not lose volume when it bends, but that is only really necessary on very, very, very low resolution models like for mobile and things like that. But when you're up into high resolution models, yes, you don't want to put triangles in, like say your knee areas or your elbow areas or your shoulder pit, any place with a joint. The best possible deformation you can have is like a dryer hose. You know, the hose that hangs out of the back of your dryer, just like boop, 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 straight quads. If you have triangles going crazy in there, when you bend that, your triangles are going to tweak and go all weird. So if you have it coming off of your shoulder straight, you know, like straight like a dryer hose, then when it goes down, it will bend like an accordion. You know, it'll have all those cuts. And so when I have my A-frame character like this, I will actually split that. So there's a whole ton of geometry down inside the armpit because there's a whole bunch of rings, a whole bunch of loops in there, and it's forming that accordion to go down. So I hope that answers your question. I avoid it like the plague. So yeah, I don't put triangles in there if I can help it. So let's see. Oh, I never knew about that local symmetry scaling. Ah, sweet. Glad somebody got that information. Hollowing a model happens in your printing software, said the infill. On some printing software it does. There's actually a free one that Autodesk puts out that will hollow it out, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's super good. It works really well. Let's see. My course, will it be aimed at beginners? It will start at beginning level. I mean, it is slightly advanced, but kind of like this that I'm teaching you right now. But it goes from beginner all the way to advanced. Like you can get a character out of it at the end that's all retopped and ready for game. Let's see. ZBrush will hollow out your models. So with ZBrush, yeah, you have to duplicate your model and then flip it around, and then you can. It's pretty tricky to do, but it's nice because you can control it. And you shrink it down, and you have to flip the normals inside out, and then you extract it out of the center. It's kind of fun to do that way, but maybe I'll get to that. I don't know. Not tonight, obviously, but let's see. The interface is weird, but you can have your own weird. yes, Isle. That is so true. Make it your weird. Let's see. Then yeah, you know, double monitors. I've always had double monitors, and I've never really needed it per se. Sure, it would be nice, but I like it just like this because on my Cintiq, I like to have everything within range, within hitting distance. So that's why I like it. Let's see. No. Yeah. Yes, Brandon. That's correct. The difference. Let's see. Can you tell us what type of character your course is based on? It's very similar to this one, but not as detailed, not as complex, so you can follow along a little easier. Let's see. I will pose this character inside of ZBrush. This transpose tool is awesome, and it's kind of difficult to learn at first and to get your head around it at first, but that thing is like a Swiss Army knife of things that you're able to do with it. And I wish this was in every other program that I used, but it's not, and I'm sad. So that's why I try to stay in ZBrush as much as possible, because I love the transpose tool. It does so much depending on the context that you're in. I love it. So but to answer your question, I will pose this character for if I'm doing marketing renders. I will pose it into ZBrush, and I'll push it over to KeyShot to render it out for a marketing shot for, say, my portfolio over on ArtStation, or I will pose it in here to print it out in 3D as well. So we'll do all of our posing inside of ZBrush. And then for the game model, I don't need it posed, I just need it rigged. So I'll just push it out and get it rigged that way. Okay, so let's get going. I get distracted by questions. But thank you very much for the questions. I hope I'm answering all of them for you. We have a template character for us to model in your course, or can we do? I encourage you to do your own. That's what this thing is about. Is I want you to learn how to model your own characters and be comfortable with it. And I will give you feedback as part of that. So let's see. Let's. I mean, you can follow along, but I don't recommend it. Let's see. Extrude polygroup all. Just going to extrude that down. Okay. And you'll notice that it's when you extrude with the Z Modeler brush, it pre-creases your edges, which is really super nice. And there's areas where I want a crease, like right here on this plane change. So I need to look down here, and you'll see that it's kind of messed up. I'm going to straighten this out a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so now I want to put a crease around this plane change, because if I hit D, you'll see that it's nice and smooth and it looks nice, but where the plane change is in my original foot, you'll notice that it's kind of making a gap here and it's making a gap here. Okay, so I'll hit Shift D to go back to low poly. Then I will just go to my Z Modeler brush, hold on an edge, click crease, and then edge loop complete, which means a complete edge loop all the way around, and just tap it. And now it's creased, and if I hit D and hide the wireframe, look at that, super nice. That is how you get clean edges in ZBrush. That's one way. So I'm gonna do it again right here, boom. And there's your plane change. Then now I can make the foot match that sole. I can just go around here and tweak it and make sure it all has the same distance that's being shown. How are we doing on time? Oh, almost time. All right. How you doing, Kyle? You want me to keep going, or you want me to be done? Let's see. How many people will be in the group? I don't know yet. I haven't decided on that. So it's not really it's not a weekly group lesson. It's more of a learn at your own pace, and then submit when you're ready, I guess. If that makes any sense. It's kind of a hybrid sort of thing. Okay, so let's see. I watched another streamer. A person was anti-monster. So, you know, I sort of agree with that, Swifty, but not. If you're a good monster modeler, like say, gosh, there's so many, like Martin Van Hoeven or Frank, oh, what's his last name? Frank Zhang is his last, and Paul Liao. Just, there are incredible monster sculptors that you can't hide anything. I mean, you can see all of the details and anatomy, and even Ashley on here, if you watch her stuff. Yeah, there's no hiding anything. There's a difference. There's a difference. So I don't bash on monster builders at all. But that being said, it is easy to want to build monsters, to go into that direction, because ZBrush is like a little devil sitting on your shoulder saying, make it lumpy, make it lumpy. It's easy, just make it lumpy. And it is, because, you know, that's kind of the nature of ZBrush, you know, is to go right into the details, right? You just run right in there and just start detailing the heck out of something. And it's easy to look past the anatomy and not put your love into the anatomy like you should. But you should learn anatomy and get it in there. Make that straight. And so for this heel here, let's see, let me catch up here. Okay, Kyle, I just don't want to keep you if you're like want to get back to your family or something. See, I've always been curious in the process. Oh, cool. Glad you're liking it. Verikai, it's a cool name. The Arbiter, awesome. Is there a straightforward way of doing the turned down top of the boots? Okay, yeah, let me get back to you on that one. Let me keep reading and I'll come back to you. Okay, former things. Yes, 3D printed. That's so true. Let's see. Awesome. Updated the schedules. And Kyle, I can go an hour earlier next Sunday too, if you want. Feedback. Yeah. Let's see. Blue, I haven't decided yet. I'm still trying to work that out right now. Yep, got to get past the suck. So get past the suck. That's actually a Ryan Kingsland thing. If you guys know who Ryan Kingsland is, he used to work for Pixelogic, and now he does a whole bunch of tutorials. And he coined the phrase "Valley of the Suck," and it's such a beautiful thing because every single character that I've ever built has to go through it. I don't know what it is. I think I've had maybe one that just kind of looked good from the get-go, but yeah, the Valley of the Suck. It's like this valley that your character has to cross through, and it's going to look like total and utter crap for a while until you just keep going and you just got to work past it. And then all of a sudden pieces and parts will start coming together, and it's usually in the face because the face is the hardest to get the appeal into. And yeah, you just have to work through it. You can't. A lot of artists, like especially sketch artists, can do it easier. They're just like, oh, I'm sketching, and this looks like crap. I'm throwing it away. But with ZBrush, you're like sculpting. You have a lot more time invested. So you're just like, you got to work through it. You can't throw it away. Just push past, because you can always edit and push until you make your way out of the valley. It's like Shawshank Redemption, coming out of the sewer. And you're just like, yes, there it is. It looks okay. So yes, work your way through the Valley of the Suck. Super cool. Okay, let me get back to the boots. The boots. Okay. Yes, and I love Matt. I love the way he does stuff. He's very inspiring to me. The boots. What I'll usually do with the boots is I will just create an extra piece, and I will wrap the top of the piece that I just create into the boot, and I won't necessarily connect them together because they don't need to be connected together physically in space unless they're going to perform some kind of function, like she's going to put them on and you need to see that it actually functions. Otherwise, I'll just cheat it and just kind of build that around. And I'll do the same thing with collars. Sometimes I'll just kind of push the collar down into there, because you could spend as much time building a collar into a shirt as you do building the entire character, because it can get very, very complex. So I would just rather cheat it and just lay the piece on the top, like say this triangle right here. I'll just build that triangle separately and just kind of set it, lay it across there, and I won't stitch it in so it's curving and working like a real shirt, because you're going to be there forever. I mean, you can do it, and then later on, you're going to have to, if you're going to do this as a game character, you're going to have to bake maps and all sorts of stuff. And if that thing is stitched in, then you're just going to make more work for yourself. So I usually just kind of cheat it, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's what I do with the over thing. All right. Yeah, the Ryan Kingsland emoji. No kidding. Okay. Yes, coming back is also a really avalanche of despair, for sure. Yep. It's a pain you go through. The sooner you learn it, the sooner you'll realize, okay, it's looking crappy now. I just got to push through it. And sometimes and it depends on your art director. Sometimes you'll want to show, when you're dead in the Valley of the Suck. And sometimes you'll just want to personally work your way out of it first and just say, hold on, don't look at it yet. I'm still like in the valley, I'll be out in a minute. And then just work your way through it. Then show your art director, because sometimes it's not always pretty, but then sometimes your art directors understand and they can help you make it better, quicker. It depends. It all depends on how your art director likes to work. So you'll notice now that I'm just pushing pushing the boot back. So the space between where the boot resolves into the sole and where the sole comes out, it looks the same all the way around. So it actually looks like a shoe. So it's kind of just peeking out there. And that really works well when you go to 3D print something, as if you kind of exaggerate things like that. And it looks like I didn't have symmetry turned on. So I'm going to use that little trick. Whoops. And Smart Resim. There we go. Okay. Let's see. So a good way to start off 3D modeling. Oh, the bossing say. Thanks. Yeah. I need to put a picture of that up. It's like, but that's learning ZBrush as a whole. The bossing say thing. That's not like each individual personal model that you're working through. The valley of the suck is like each model has to go through that valley. Bossing say is this. The last stream I was explaining how somebody asked about the learning curve of ZBrush, and it's the initial learning curve is pretty much a wall. It's straight up until you clear that wall, and then you're in paradise and you can pretty much do anything you want. So that's why I really like teaching ZBrush, because I like to try and minimize that wall as much as possible. Bossing Say is, yeah, it's from Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's a earth bending, it's Earth Kingdom, and it's a city surrounded by, it's a big circular city surrounded by a big gigantic wall. I mean, a huge wall, and everything outside of it is just desert, and everything inside it is paradise. So it's like, that's kind of like how to learn ZBrush is. You just have to make it over that wall, and once you do, then it'll all become clear, and you'll be like, I could do anything, you know. So just trust me that once you get over there, it's awesome. Okay, so let's see. So sorry, Arbiter, getting back to your question really quick. Starting out 3D modeling, that's kind of a vague question, but it depends on your budget, I guess. If you're really very first starting out and you just want to play, I would say go download Sculptress and just try messing around and see if you like it. Or if you want to take the next step and actually invest something, I suggest getting ZBrush Core. That's the next level. And you can do a lot of the stuff in ZBrush Core that you can do in here, and you can get playing around with it and trying it out. And that's more sculpting than actually 3D modeling. But it'll give you a good sense of if you want to do it or not. And then if you're like, hey, I love this, I want to do it more, that's when you can invest in the full 4R7. Or like Kyle was saying down below, is there's a trial that you can try out, and you can just try it out for, Kyle, how long is the trial for? Also, you'll notice I'm not over in my subtool list clicking through my subtools. This is something that I didn't know for a long time. If you hold down Alt and tap on an object, it's going to select that subtool. I didn't know that forever. That was dumb. So, okay, 45 days. Okay, awesome. There you go. Let's see. Oh, I do have a question. I'm planning. Okay, red. What size is Cintiq? This is, I've spoiled myself, and I got a 27. And I used to have a 24 HD. I loved the heck out of that because it had buttons built in the side. And I built this user interface based on me not needing a keyboard. I could shove my keyboard away, and I could just hold my hand on the side and do everything I needed to do without having to use a keyboard. But the size ratio was different. It wasn't a 16:9. It was like taller and skinnier. And I was about to do my course, and I needed to do my course in 1080p. So I wanted the resolution. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'll have to get the 27. So I got the 27, and I'm just going to tell you, I don't really care for this because it's not connected to the surface of the Cintiq. It's actually floating around. So that's my my critique to Wacom. This is an awesome piece of hardware, but it's not connected. I need to have it solid and stuck there. So I might, you know, kind of strap it down or something like that. But let's see. Oh, thanks. Thanks, 3D Printed. I'm glad you feel that way. It makes me happy. ZBrush Core doesn't have the Z Modeler. Yeah, Z Modeler is awesome. Skin 4 material in ZBrush Core can be duplicated in ZBrush 4R7. Oh, I think you're talking, Blands, I think you mean the other way around. Is there a skin shade 4 in Core? Because it is in 4R7, but I'm not sure if it's in Core. Let's see. And my course will be aimed at beginners at the first. Yeah, it'll cover a whole bunch of stuff, but you have to be dedicated. It's not just like, you know, super beginner, not like how to navigate and stuff like that. So let's see. I just bought a 22 Cintiq. Wow. So okay. So go to Hired Gun. Go to Ask ZBrush is one of them, and Z Classroom is another one. And another streamer that's on here, Michael Palvovich, he has a beginner series on YouTube that is absolutely fantastic. Like, it goes through every single little detail if you want to get into it that way. Super, super awesome. Let's see. Yeah, Dell Canvas, but that's kind of the computer built into the Cintiq at once. I'm excited for that, but it's expensive. For the computer I would need to push what I need, it's like $6,000. It's so expensive. ZBrush uses its own scripting language to make plugins. Kyle, maybe you can answer that. I'm not sure. Let's see, Twitch TV. There's one in Core that's Shadow Show, really good. Oh yeah. Seeing Meats. Yeah, I'm actually a personal friend of Meats. He's awesome. I knew him back in my airbrushing days. I used to airbrush for a living back in like the early 90s. I was one of those dudes that was airbrushing on motorcycles and leather jackets and guitars and stuff like that. Yes, I admit it. And Meats, he shared some studio space with me for a little while. And yeah, he was an amazing airbrush artist. He would airbrush like H.R. Geiger type style stuff. And he had his truck airbrush like H.R. Geiger. It was the coolest thing ever. So yes, he's super inspiring. Let's see. Oh yes, thank you, Blue. Yeah, I have a frog course up on Gumroad. It's a $20 course and it's for beginners. You can check it out. It's reasonably priced and you can get into it. And it's a lot of the same stuff I'm showing here, but let's see. I keep looking at all you guys' questions and not modeling here. No info yet about pressure sensitivity. Oh yeah, I'm not sure what kind of tech it has. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to go back down in resolution and need to make sure. Okay, I'm gonna put the heel on here with the Z Modeler brush, and it's super easy. I mean, Paul Gabriel can do this in his sleep, but I use it very limited. I use it mostly for weapons and things like this sword. I'll use Z Modeler for the sword and like this jar and the scabbard and things like buckles and just when I need to edit little things like this. So with this heel, I need to isolate this heel so I can extrude it. So what I'll do is I'll change the poly group. So I can push poly group and I can try flat island. Yep, that worked. Boom. So one click worked. Flat island, excuse me, my lips are getting dry. It will make everything a poly group or affect everything that is flat until it changes direction. And so otherwise you can do single polygon and just click each one and add it. And here's another thing I can show you with poly group. Let's say I wanted to make this top poly group the same as this one, but let's see, how can I do this? Okay, say I want to make this poly group the same poly group as this one. And there's no real eyedropper for poly group, except for there is, and it's just kind of hidden. So I want to show you. So I'm under poly group, And what you can do is when you click on it, if you tap shift, it will actually eyedrop and suck that polygroup color up into your eyedropper, like Photoshop or something. And now I can color, like say this flat island, the same color as this outer green, for example. Or if I want to change polygroup color, if I tap and while I'm holding down, I can tap Alt and change and just alternate through all different polygroup colors. And I use that all the time. It's super duper handy. Let's see. Da, da, da. Let's see. So yeah, Arbiter, the I don't if you want to be a game designer, a game modeler is different, obviously. You're modeling characters, but if you're wanting to be a game designer and modeling your own characters for your own game, that's fine. But a game designer is really it's a very, very, very unique position inside of a game studio. Okay, hold on. Hold that thought. I'm going to just show you how to extrude this really fast. I'm just going to say extrude polygroup all and then pull this heel out like that. And oh, come on, snap. There we go. And obviously it's not going down. And this is a little higher heel than she has going here. So I might make it lower like it is, or I might leave it higher. I'm not sure. But for now, I'm just going to kind of pull it down and match the floor. I'm actually going to pull it beyond the floor. And then this is something that you can do in ZBrush Core is with the move tool, because the clip curve is not in ZBrush Core, this clip curve tool. So instead you can use the transpose move tool. And this is what I'm talking about, having the transpose be a Swiss Army knife of all things. So if you right click and drag on this first red circle and push forward, it will clip it just like a clip brush does. See that? And it will clip all the way across too. So let's do that. Let's see. Come on, go. There it goes. See, it's clipping the entire thing. That is how you know your entire foot is flat on the bottom of the floor. You can use that clip. Okay, let's see. Da-da. Yep, disco shoes. All right. Yep. Staying alive, staying alive. All right. All right. I'll shrink down those heels. I should just show you guys how to do it. Let's see. What time is it? 11:19. I'll go till 11:30. Is that okay, Kyle? Well, which is 10:30 Pacific time. Will that work? Okay, I'm gonna move the sole first to kind of get it where I want it. So back to character design. I'll keep rambling on. I kind of get a little. I'm gonna be on my soapbox for a minute. I kind of get a little irritated because there are these tech schools, and they'll say, "Come and get a degree in game design." And as far as I know, in the gaming industry, there is no such thing as a game designer that has a degree in game design that's actually a game designer. There might be, but they're very rare. And it really bothers me that these tech schools are taking money from kids that are so excited about video games. They're like, I'm going to make video games, and they go and get this degree and they can't do anything with it. Because you go to a game studio and they're like, I have a degree in game design. And it just doesn't get you anywhere, and it makes me sad. So my advice to you is, if if you really want to get into game design, you want to be a designer, go make a game with, like, say, Unity or Unreal, just something small, and do some level design and design it yourself and build it from the ground up. There are plenty of tutorials out there that cost nothing, so you don't have to pay a tech school some outrageous amount to go get a degree that's not going to get you anywhere. So that's my beef. So I don't usually have problems with very many things, but that one irks me a little bit. Yeah, draw the turtle. Oh my gosh. Yeah, 24-hour stream, that'd be crazy, right? I don't know if my back could take it. Yeah, Game University. Now, okay, let me clarify. When, like, the University of Utah here in Utah, which is actually where 3D was, like, Ed Catmull went to the University of Utah and developed 3D. Like, it was invented here in Utah. And right now they have one of the most amazing game courses up there, but it's not necessarily in game design. It's in all of the disciplines of making a game. Like, there is a character modeling course, for example, and a rigging course. And if you're wanting to program games, that's different. But if you're wanting to design games, and this is just in my experience, I've gone through 7 different studios, and they've mostly been here in Utah, but the designer is the main designer is the owner of the company, more likely than not. And other designers, they go in and they help make, they're usually like architects and world builders. They are also designers. So because they put in their levels, the actual flow of the game and how everything's going to work and how that works out. But game designers usually come from, like, the testing department or other departments, and they work their way into it. Or they've built a game on their own and they've displayed their skills. And if probably in your community, there are like 24-hour game challenges where you can get together with your buddies and then go make a game in 24 hours. And then it's something that you can show in your portfolio. That's really cool. And I don't mean to diss that hard on tech schools, but there are some, just beware, there are some out there that are just like, I like the term drone-filled diploma mills, because they're just like, thanks for the money, here's your diploma. You know, it's just be wary. That's all. Just be wary. But there are some schools out there that do have fantastic programs, and look at their placement. If they have graduated kids that are now working in the industry as designers, then great. They're showing that they actually go out and do what they've taught, what they've gotten taught. If that makes any sense. Okay. So if you're in it, I'm sorry if I made anybody mad. Let's see. Yes, Cupcake. Yes. Let's see. And there are so many disciplines that go into making games. There's audio people. There are storyboard artists, there are concept artists. And gosh, I mean, there were, at the peak of Disney Infinity, just here locally, I think we had 350 people. And, you know, they weren't all game designers. They were all sorts of disciplines. From just, the range is huge. Okay. Let's I'm just gonna build that buckle really quick that goes around the top. Maybe this toe. I'll build that toe. Let's see. It's never been. Yes, Gibbon. There's tons and tons and tons. And there are they're called Fallman, they're called TAs. Yes, there are. And rigging is huge. Technical artists and rigging. It's very few people want to do it, but if you can get in there and you do really well at it, then they're a wanted skill to have, riggers. Let's see. Self-taught artists, designers are more motivated than school. Okay, one thing that school gives you, though, because I went to the Art Institute of Seattle, and one thing that school gives you is the time to do it. School says, okay, this is your time, you're going to learn, and here's your time to do it. If you're in a full-time job and you're not going to school and you're just learning on your own, if you have the willpower to do it, great. And you have the time to do it, great. But that's one great thing about school, is it gives you the time, and it also gives you the people doing it with you, like your peers. They're also learning along with you. And Jason Newkirk, the J Nuke right there. I met him at the Art Institute of Seattle. He went there with me. So you also network at school. It's really nice to network and get to know people. Obviously, the better the school, the better you can network. So like there's a school here also, BYU, and Pixar hires right out of BYU for their animation classes, not their game design classes, their animation, because their animation stuff is fantastic. They do an animated short film every single year, and it's super duper good. So, yep, a nice solid rounded education. Yeah, and it's really good for being a decent human being, and just learning, like learning your everything else, just getting yourself rounded so you're not just lost. And because you're more mature, hopefully, when you go to college. And like in high school, I was just like, I don't give a crap. I just want to go home and skateboard or something, But in college, when you're actually paying for it, you care more. So you're going to put more into it. So there's that. And to answer your question, do you need a degree to get a job? Not necessarily, because portfolio is king. And if you have a fantastic portfolio, then you can get a job without a degree. But you have to have a fantastic portfolio, a pretty dang good looking one. Right. Anything's possible. So, yep. So anyway, that's my, I can go on and on about this. We got to get back to ZBrush. Sorry, Kyle. All right, here we go. Let's make the toe thing. Go back to this, and we're going to build the toe thing. Let's see how fast we can do it with the topology brush. Because time is money, right? Time is money. You don't always have to be fast, but I like the challenge of it, just trying to be fast. And you'll see that it has kind of a little bit of a crease on the toe. So I want to make sure there's a poly line that's right on that toe going across there, so I can crease it and get a nice looking toe. And it also has kind of this change of direction around the edges. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. I'm gonna hit D. Let's see. Oh, subdivision levels. Okay. Let me back out of that. And I'm going to crank up the subdivision levels. So the topology brush, it needs to have an object that doesn't have subdivision levels. So I need to duplicate that. Go to the new one, hide the old one, and then go to geometry and delete the lower. So now it doesn't have any subdivision levels, and I'm not going to mess up my other boots, and now I can go to town with it. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Bacon Bolts. Thank you very much for stopping by. All right. So these are the inner edges, and then I'm going to cross it. Bring it all the way down. Sorry, I didn't mean to start a huge debate about tech schools. It's just like Peter Griffin. You know what really grinds my gears? Oh, sorry. I just hate tech schools stealing money from kids with big dreams. That's all. That's where I'll end it. Let's see. I'm going to put one more around here. and then one more through here. And you'll notice I usually stop the line in the middle of a quad, so it's easy for me to continue. If I stop it on a line, it's going to be hard for me to grab that end and continue the line. Okay, now I can just hold down Alt, drag, clean it up. There's my toe thing. And I'm just going to tap and pop it off of there like that. Let's see. And then I'm gonna have to tweak it a lot, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna keep it one layer thick, like so. It's in there. There we go. Delete hidden. Now we have this. And now I can unhide the boot and then hit this transparent button and you'll see the boot, and now you can see the kind of how the tip is looking. Now you can come back in here and just start to edit the heck out of it. Turn wireframe back on. Let's see. Bad college. Okay, beware. Given that is a fantastic point, by the way. That's a fantastic point. Yeah, Arbiter, thank you very much for stopping by. Hope to see you again soon. Super, keep those lines straight on that topology brush. No, not really. That's why they're kind of ganky. I don't make them perfectly straight either. What I do is, and it doesn't really matter because you're going to come back in here and use the move brush and use just very small little strokes. Very small, just like whoop, whoop. And you can straighten up your lines that way. Because you don't need to pay attention to your squiggly green line. The only part you really need to care about is where those lines cross, because that's going to make a point. And that point is what you need to keep straight, not necessarily the green lines. Okay, almost done here. I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm actually going to pull this edge higher because that's the edge I want to crease. Okay, let's go to our ZModeler brush. I can panel loop this to add a bevel, which I think I will. Let's do that. Geometry, panel loops. Let's see, 1, thickness, no polish, bevel, let's put it about 26 or so. Let's see, hit it. There we go. That's probably too steep of a bevel, or too much of a bevel. I'm gonna cut it down. There we go. So I don't necessarily want the bevel on the bottom, so I'm gonna go across here and just pull that closed a little more. Then a cool thing you can do, and I showed this at the ZBrush Summit, is you can go to groups by normal. And what that does is that's going to group everything that's past a certain angle. It's going to make into a polygroup. And the reason I want to do that, let's solo it, is because I want to put a crease everywhere there's a polygroup separation, like a change in polygroup. And that's called crease polygroup right here. That's going to put a crease in between everywhere there's a polygroup. So that's a really fast way to set all your polygroups and hit crease. But I also want a new crease around this edge. So I'm going to do that by hand with the ZModeler brush. But for now, I'm going to turn my crease level down to 3. And what that does is when I subdivide it, it's going to keep the crease 3 subdivision levels in, and then it'll let go of that crease and then make a really nice bevel so it's not super sharp. Okay, so let's crease these polygroups just like so. Then if I hit D, and hide the wireframe, you can kind of see what it's looking like. And you can turn up this preview by going to dynamic subdivisions, turn this up to like a 3. It'll be a little smoother. You don't want to go too high because the dynamic subdivision is it's previewed, so it actually taxes your CPU a little bit. So we do have a little bit of pinching in here that we can clean up later. But you'll notice that it doesn't have that crease around the front. So let's go and put that in really quick. Crease, edge loop complete. And that goes all the way around. Hit D. And there it is. It's a little messy, but you get the idea. So that's kind of how that toe thing works. And then I'll just come in there and just push around with the move tool, get it to look better. So let's see. Oh, hired gun, yeah, for sure. I love watching everybody on here. Crease by Paul Gabriel. No kidding. Oh, is there an align option in ZBrush? Let's see. Can you change the default save folder? So you can within a project, I believe. I think within the project, like once you've saved the very first spot, and I think every time after that you save, it'll go to the same spot. But I'm not exactly sure. You might want to save that question for Paul. You guys should watch Paul's stream. Paul's one of the developers that actually works at Pixelogic, and Joseph Drust. They'll both stream on here, and they're just like, bleh, information. Super good. If you say projects, yep, it'll add a link in your lightbox. There you go. Thank you. Is my Gumroad workshop valuable to ZBrush core rookies? Not so much. A little bit, but there are some things in there that I do that are not in core. But I plan on making some more core training, but I don't have any at the moment. So anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. What do you think, Kyle? We good? 11:38. We went over a little bit. What are you thinking? How you doing? Okay. Yeah, there you go. Kyle on the links. So you can see the advantage of keeping it very low poly for as long as you possibly can, because it makes it way editable. You can come in here and just edit the heck out of it. If this was Dynameshed or high resolution mesh, you'd have a really rough time keeping it smooth when you're doing this. Letitia, like, oh, you cracked me up. I don't know if I can teach you anything else. You already know all the things. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. Letitia, you should get on here. Show your mad skills. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to get that straight across so it's even. And then I want that toe to actually have some curvature. And then resolve down here. And I think I'm going to pull the sole. Whoa. Let's see, get that down. Yeah, Letitia, we're always something to learn, especially with ZBrush. There's so many, I call them hidden gems. There's so many hidden gems in ZBrush that I find new ones all the time. Like, I didn't know you could do that, really? I've been doing it this way forever. So it's good to have a community, and ZBrush community is fantastic for that. Just share information back and forth. It's funny, I'm good friends with Steve James, and I talk to him on Google Hangouts all the time, it's funny because when we'll discover something new, it's like we've discovered gold. You know, it's like, oh, have you done this? Go try this. It's so cool. You haven't seen it before. Have you done that? Oh man, it's good stuff. Thanks for stopping by, Blands. Yeah, Chris Wright, he needs to stream too. Yeah, Chris Wright, he's got a job at Leica. He's working at Leica now. But Chris Wright, if you scroll up from here, like above this video, that monster and the little girl singing, that's Chris Wright. So good, so good. That's a Corey Loftus design. Corey Loftus is a concept artist at Disney Feature. Super cool guy. And if you have the means, I highly recommend going to a conference in California called CTN, because all of these people are there and you can talk to them, including myself, Chris Wright, Corey Loftus, all these people. It's so cool. And there are a lot of ZBrushers that actually go to the ZBrush Summit. And those are the two conferences I like to go to every year, because there's so many people there. They're just walking around. Hey, how's it going? It's crazy. Yes, yes. All right. So that's pretty much how you build each and every object. It's just a matter of just going through the steps, going through the motions. And how you clean up these little bumps here is so now that I'm feeling pretty good about where this is at. There's always tweaking to be done, but I'm feeling okay where this is. So what I want to do now is make it real, what I mean by that is make the subdivisions real by hitting apply, then dividing it one more time, and there you can see the crease letting go. So see how it's not incredibly sharp? That's because of the crease level 3. And just by doing that alone, it already starts to clean up those points. And it gives you just this really sweet bevel that catches the light very nicely. So to clean this up, you can hit polish and just lightly brush over it to push it back down. That's all you got to do. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. Just kind of polish that out a little bit more. Looks like I got a divot in there. Just little tiny taps when I move stuff. I'm not just going crazy with move. That's how you get lumps. Just give it a little tap, like on Happy Gilmore. A little tap. All right. Links for days. Yes, Fall Man, thank you so much for dropping by. I'm glad you're learning stuff. Yep. Yes, beautiful, beautiful edges. All right. So you can kind of see this boot's coming together. Really quickly, see this line going down the side? I imagine that's two pieces, leather on the front, leather on the back. Yeah, just tap it in. Just go to your home, ball. So this line, I could do it one of two ways. I could either actually build the panel that goes on the top of the boot, which would look better because it has these straps, these buckles and these straps, and it's holding that leather panel across the boot, and it's going to strap it together on the outside here. But on the inside, that's kind of where that panel is going to hinge, because I kind of picture the boot being maybe cloth underneath there or something like that. And this is where it's being sewn, and so it doesn't necessarily need to be a panel that's built on the top, but I might make that a panel anyway that gets hidden underneath this belt buckle. So then I can just pop a panel off of there, build the belt buckle, and hide the whole thing underneath it. Or sometimes I'll take this carve brush, this detailer. I just wanted to show you guys so you know it's there. A lot of times with the Infinity characters, we would detail out some, or if like this line down the pants or the fly, or just different details that you would need to kind of cut in and keep it clean. You just use this carve brush. It's kind of like the orb cracks brush if you've used that. And then you can just kind of drag it down. If I have the correct subtool selected, you just drag it down and hold down consistent pressure, and then just pull it all the way, and bam, there you have a detail. And the reason I could get that smooth is because I have lazy mouse turned on in that brush, and it depends on the thickness of that brush. So there you go. Yep, motorcycle boots. And then I think this is just the shadow from the cuff. I don't think that's extra detail in there. So I'm just kind of walking through how I build it. And then I'd build these 3 belt straps, just like I showed you before. Just use the topology brush, draw them on right where they need to be, and then just pop them off, give them some thickness, and then rotate them so they come off the boot and they break that silhouette just like they're doing right there. That's a really cool way to break the silhouette. And then the buckle, you do the same way. You just draw it on with a topology brush, pop it off. Like I was saying at the ZBrush Summit, that's I build a good 80% of my the outfit that way. Is just by, that's why I build the nude model first, because then I have a base that I can work from, and then I can just build all the pieces off the top. And there's another method that if you're building more detailed pieces that have more intricate lines and curves and things like that, that Lena and Troy like to use a lot. I think they stream as well. I think Lena streams on here. They like to do the extrusion method, which is you just mask on your surface like so, whatever you want. It's going to put it on both sides, and then you just go to geometry extrude, and you can just pop it off the surface. I can't remember where it is. I don't use it because it's kind of, it can get messy. Is it under subtools? Yeah, extract, sorry, extract, this right here. So if I hit extract, it'll show me a preview. Here, let me zoom in so you can see it. But it can get kind of messy. There's different methods you can clean it up. Yeah, they're fantastic. I love watching those too. They're so cool. Yeah, thanks 3D Printed. So it's you can set the thickness right here, and if you want to accept it, you push accept, and then it'll make a new subtool. I can just do it really quick. So now it's right here in its own subtool. It has masking, but it has these crazy edges, and it's kind of a mess. So you can do different things, like you can Z-remesh this. You can get rid of everything but that top panel like this, and you can just Z-remesh that to clean it up. Or, you know, there's different things you can do to clean it up. And I'll usually use that method when I am doing more intricate things. Like say these tentacle things on the edge of the boot. If I wanted to do those, see, they're more intricate. So if it would take me a long time to go through with that topological brush and draw each one of those on. It would be much quicker if I could just go mask them, or I could even poly paint them on and then mask by intensity and then pop them off and make them a detail. So I'll do it that way sometimes. So let's see. All right. Well, I think, let's see, it's 11:50. Yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up. So, yep, poly loops and groups and all sorts of things. So I hope you guys have learned a lot. I got a sore throat because I've been talking so much. Let's get another look at where we're at here with the pants and the belt. So now the pants they're going into the boots, but I need to edit them some more. And when we get the cuffs on there, the integration will be a lot nicer. So yeah, I was gonna stream for 2 hours. We ended up going 3. So yeah, thanks for stopping by, Jace. Yes. So how many of you stayed the whole 3 hours? I I'm not. I can watch streamers for a little bit, but I don't really. Sometimes I'll leave them on in the background and just kind of listen. And if something perks my interest, I'll go check it out. But I'm trying to be the streamer that I like to watch personally. That is just kind of constant information. So I hope you guys enjoy it as well. So thank you everyone that are just kind of standing by, being quiet. Thank you so much for stopping by. I don't know how many we peaked out on. It's been great. So yes, yeah, go back and watch it. You can see how I did the original stuff at the beginning of the stream. Looks like the foot's popping out. So I'll also cut these feet off now that I have the boot done. So you've been here all day. Tip your waitresses. I've been here all day. Thanks for stopping by, Brennan. Yep. Go watch Brennan's stream. He does fantastic stuff. Super good stuff. Oh, thanks, Palm Road. I'm glad you enjoy it. Hope you get something out of it. And like I said, if you want to get my brushes and my user interface, and my course is coming soon. If you sign up for my news group, you'll figure out, or I'll let you know. I try not to send too much spam because I'm not a fan of too much spam. So you just go to 3dcharacterworkshop.com, and I have this ruler coming very soon right here where she looks like Han Solo stuck in it. But this will help you go back and forth between other programs and ZBrush, hopefully. And yeah, thank you, Kyle, for moderating tonight and being the super cool link guy. And if you want to try out ZBrush, grab the trial down below. And if you want to learn more, go check out Z Classrooms and Ask ZBrush and Michael Palfovich's stuff and my Gumroad. If you look up Shane Olson Gumroad. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week, and we'll get farther along in costuming. So I might start building out some of these parts and pre-recorded a little bit or something. I don't know. We'll see. Because I think building out all of these parts, it might bore you guys to death, but we'll see. All right. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone. Have a good night, and enjoy your week. See you.